At the end of last term, it was reported that IC may be merging with the QEC. Earlier today, Nick Morton came along to the studio to be interviewed by Lawrence Windley about the proposal.
Some of you may have attended the emergency UGM held on the last Thursday of last term. One of the main reasons for calling the UGM was the proposed merger between IC and QEC. At the meeting, a proposal was passed supporting a possible plan to incorporate QEC as a fourth constituent college. However, the Life Sciences Division would also form part of RCS and some of Guilds. And with me in the studio I have Nick Morton, ICU President, and I'd like him to talk to me and you a little about what the proposals mean. Now, let me start by asking you, Nick, were you happy with the attendance at the meeting?
No, I wasn't, considering 150 people had submitted a petition to call the meeting, which is required by our constitution. I was a little unhappy to find only about 100 there. Nevertheless, they seemed pretty sensible, and I think all points of view were put, so I'm glad the quorum wasn't challenged.
So, what, in your own words, do the latest proposals mean?
Do you mean the union proposals or what's happening at the college level?
Well, both what the union's attitude towards the merger is and what the college position is.
Okay. The union has agreed that we should sort of hold out the hand of friendship to another college in the university if they wish to take it, and say that we are happy to help them continue existence as a fourth constituent college of Imperial rather than a college of the University of London. And we've said that we want to do that, but not at the expense of departments already in existence in the RCS, because we don't want to lose the name and traditions and reputation of the Royal College of Science, and so they would come with their life sciences departments, mainly food science and that sort of thing, and they would exist. Those departments would exist as QEC, but the Life Sciences Division, as you said, would continue to cross constituent college boundaries. I think that is largely how the college would have seen such a merger, but of course that merger has now been, well, the proposal that was passed by our governing body has now been opposed by Queen Elizabeth College's governing body.
Yes, and also, of course, Queen Elizabeth students would like to see their college kept in one piece.
Yes, I think they're very keen to maintain their identity. They think their name is good enough. They think some of their departments have a very good reputation, and I'm not going to argue with that.
It strikes me that particularly the coverage in Felix has been a little misleading, in that the merger has never been a certain thing, and it really all began when the rector offered to take some parts of QEC, which was obviously in a dire financial situation, and a lot of students seem to form the impression that the merger was being sort of dictated from on high at the sort of UGC level. And that's not in fact the case, is it?
It's certainly not. It's never even reached the UGC level. The only contact that the UGC have had with the two colleges was to agree to the release of the draft statement of intent because their name was used. But really it's not got to them at all, or even the university, though once again the Vice-Chancellor was contacted about the original draft statement of intent. The draft statement of intent was worked out by the rector and the principal of Queen Elizabeth College, and I think not only students but academics perhaps thought that it was all being rather railroaded and that this was going to go ahead, and what are we going to do about this? We've got to fight this. So it wasn't only Felix that overreacted, perhaps. All it said was, this is a basis for discussion in each of the colleges, which is what's happened, and it can then either be passed or amended or opposed by our governing bodies, who are the only people who can make these decisions.
So, based on that original draft statement of intent, it appears that whilst Imperial is willing to go ahead, QEC aren't.
Not on the original draft statement of intent, because the original draft statement of intent was amended a couple of times by Board of Studies. Board of Studies had one meeting, which was a lengthy affair, and then an emergency meeting the following week. And on both occasions they proposed amendments which were adopted and presented to the governing body here, and that revised document, and it had a number of revisions, was passed by us but not by them, and it would seem they didn't even consider the original draft
Yeah.
statement.
So it appears that the ball rests in QEC's court.
I would say so. I
Yes,
think they'll...
right. Well, sorry I haven't really got enough time. Thanks for coming along to talk to us, Nick.
Okay.
I hope to hear from you again.